All right, good evening. And on behalf of Stephen Rosenfield, I'd like to welcome you to the American Comedy Institute's live virtual stand-up comedy show. Tonight, you are going to see comics not just from around the country, but from around the globe. Some making their stand-up debut as the culmination of our September comedy workshop with Stephen Rosenfield. I will also say that this, in case you're the first time with us, Stephen Rosenfield started the American Comedy Institute back in 1989, which is pretty incredible considering we're coming up on our 35th anniversary. Stephen is an award-winning comedy writer, director, and the author of Mastering Stand-Up. Alumni of the American Comedy Institute have gone on to perform on The Tonight Show, The Late Show, Conan, SNL, and clubs all over the world. So you may just be getting a glimpse tonight of the next ACI star. I'm your host tonight, Jay Yoder. We're going to have some fun. Let us know where you're from and where you're watching from. Drop a comment. We'd love to hear it. And I'm sort of grateful it's on Zoom, if I'm being honest, because from this angle, you can't tell I've put on some of the pandemic pounds. And I got to tell you, I just hit 40 and I had to make a decision, keeping it on as a souvenir. Never forget. I mean, my wife and I were both teachers, and I don't know, I know it was hectic for all of us, but we stopped cooking. We were so busy. And all I could think about was, thank God for DoorDash. I mean, in our house, those were the first responders. And do you remember everybody was out there banging like pots and pans for nurses at 9 o'clock? Yeah, not me. I was in my driveway with a fork and a plate looking for Bryce in a white Honda Civic. And it's tough, because we were thinking about going back to the gym now that everything's sort of reopened. And the only gym that we had near us is one called Planet Fitness. I'm sure you guys have heard of it. No judgment zone, commitment free. And I love it. I mean, they have monthly bagel breakfasts. They have monthly pizza parties, candy every day. I've been going to the gym 4 or 5 times a week for the last month, and I've lost the ability to regulate my body's insulin. Oh, you thought I was counting? No, I just keep losing feeling in my right hand. The doc was like, Jay, you got to stop going to the gym. And I'm like, Doc, I finally found a gym that gets me. You know what I mean? Like, I used to skip leg day. At Planet Fitness, they have turkey leg day. It's like the Renaissance fair in there. I went in there and I asked a guy for a spot. He threw me a Tide stick. I was like, do you guys ever worry about, getting a pulled hammy? The guy's like, a pulled hammy? Have you had our pulled pork? It's next to the AED machine. I mean, I've been trying to practice all the good habits of like going to a gym. Like, about the cool down, right? That's when you blow on your pizza when you're walking back to the car because it comes out piping hot. I mean, now that I'm a big gym rat, I'm using all the lingo. I will say, because I've been eating late at night, working out late at night, I started having like weird dreams. Like I had this dream the other night that the CEO of Planet Fitness is the witch from Hansel and Gretel. You remember that story? Like she's leading me this trail of treats to fatten me up so she can cook me for Sunday dinner. I mean, you go in there and what you see those massage chairs. Oh no, those are meat tenderizers. You think those are tanning beds? Those are giant Foreman grills. Every time I get in the hot tub, there's some dude slicing carrots, celery, and onion. She's trying to cook me like it's Sunday dinner, guys. And I'm a dad. I gotta watch myself. Not only am I a dad, I'm a special needs dad, which I thought I needed to feel special all the time. My oldest, Alicia, she's actually on the spectrum, but she's on the badass end of the spectrum. Like she's one cool chick. And, comics often use autism as a punchline nowadays. And I think it's because they're jealous. She sees the world in a state they take drugs to visit. Yeah, they call it a trip. She's a permanent resident. But like all the therapies are working, so now she's got dual citizenship. Like the average kid will look on a phone and play games. She does that too, but she's also memorizing our Google Calendar, which isn't a big deal, except my wife and I are at that part of our marriage where we're planning sexy time. Yeah, what we weren't planning on is her teacher saying, "Hey, Alicia, what are you guys doing this weekend?" "Well, Mrs. Davis, looks like we got a lot of sexy time on the calendar." So now we call it filing our taxes. Mostly because we just do it once a year. I mean, on a good year, quarterly. I will say, I don't know if I'm being a good parent. We did during the pandemic. She was in first grade, and we had a note come home, and it said, "Alicia's been using the F word, but she's using it appropriately." I'm sorry, appropriately? Like F this effing pandemic? Was this good news? I mean, I took it as great news. She was diagnosed nonverbal autistic. We didn't think she was ever going to speak. You're telling me she's using appropriately in the first grade? That was an honor roll certificate. Where's my bumper sticker? My kid curses on a 7th grade level. Well, I've been Jay Yoder. I've got this show started. I think we're ready for the real guys, the real stars of this workshop to come forth. The first one I'm very excited for. He wasn't able to get his camera on. I'll let him explain a little bit about that because that'll be a fun story. But by way of South Carolina, this guy has been making his mark in New York. And he's traveling all over. He's going to be in Philly tomorrow. We're very excited to have him. Please help me welcome to the stage the very funny Noah Brockett.
How's it going? I have to apologize. I'm a bit sleepy today. I stayed up all last night listening to this cooking show on Netflix, Breaking Bad. So yeah, as Jay mentioned, my camera's off, and that's fine. I'm actually blind. I'm blind. Usually I have to guess what my audience looks like, so I figured, hey, today is my revenge. But yeah, I'm blind. I get lots of really good questions about what it's like to be blind. Like a little girl asked me once, how do blind people read? So I told her how we use Braille. Another guy asked me, how do blind people get around and navigate? So I told him how we use the cane. Another guy asked me, how do blind people have sex? And I said, we have sex? I have lots of other blind friends. Me and my blind friends went to the amusement park to ride the teacups. Whoops. Turns out we were on the bumper cars. Another good question I get is, what's the hardest part about being blind? The hardest part about being blind, I would have to say, is finding love, or finding anything. But no, it can be hard, I'm at a natural disadvantage when it comes to using like all these dating apps, dating websites and stuff, because like I can't see the pictures. I don't know what I'm getting myself into. Like the one time I went out with a girl from one of these dating apps, turns out she was pregnant. That's true. And I asked her when the baby was coming. I expected her to say like 3 months, 4 months. She said Monday. It's ridiculous, man. My last girlfriend was blind, and sometimes when people hear that I used to date another blind girl, they're like, wow, that must be so different from two-sided people being in a relationship. And I'm like, nah, not really. It was kind of the same. Like, we'd be getting ready to go out and she would be getting dressed and she would say things like, honey, does this dress make my butt feel fat? Sometimes people overreact when they see me do like normal stuff. Like the other day I had a friend over and I was cooking and I went to grab a spice and I wanted to know what it was. So I took some with my finger and I tasted it. And I said out loud, oh, this is pepper. And my friend was like, whoa, how did you know that? I was like, Because it tastes like pepper, dumbass. You know, it's not that impressive, right? Like, I'm a guy, I live alone. I have 3 spices in my cabinet. 2 of them are salt. But he didn't know that, so I really blew his mind when I pointed at them and I'm like, hey, could you pass the salt? Oh, this is exciting. I think I met the stupidest man on earth. He's one of my friend's family members, and he told me something I did not know. He came up to me and he's like, son, you know, you don't have to be blind, right? I did not know that. He told me they can give you robot eyes. And I'm like, what, like from Apple? Well, can I walk into an Apple store and get like an eyeball 13? And he's like, no, it's something that I saw on a documentary. They can give you robot eyes with like thermal vision. And I'm like, they can? Well, that's mighty Christian of them. What was the name of the documentary? Predator? I found Braille on a parking meter. I mean, were there just so many people going, geez, it's hard enough driving when you're blind. How the hell am I supposed to know how to use this damn meter? So I travel a lot to New York, and I like it up there, but it can be pretty hard. Like one day I was walking in New York and I bumped into somebody and he's like, hey, watch your back. And I'm like, I can't even watch my front. But being there, I noticed something about the people in New York. You know, I think the people in New York are just really, really woke. You know, like one day I wanted to take the subway and I was having a really hard time finding the subway door. So I asked this guy, I said, hey man, could you give me a hand? I'm blind. And he said, actually, you're not blind, you're just visually impaired. And I was like, wow, that's so validating. Well, can you tell me where the fucking subway door is? Hey, thank you guys so much. I've been Noah Brockett.
Oh, give it up for Noah. Heck yeah. Oh my goodness. It is funny because my Noah stayed with me before, my family, and my beautifully adorable daughter who social cues don't register. She asked me when she saw that Noah was on the show tonight, she's like, is Noah still blind? Yes, sweetheart. So I thought it was funny that, the revenge of Noah today is like, listen, if I can't see you, you can't see me. Give it up one more time for Noah Brockett, guys. Oh, my goodness. This next guy's an ACI regular. He's performed at Gotham, all over. He comes by way of Miami Beach, Florida. Let's give it up for Brendan Fisher.
How's everybody doing tonight? Outstanding. You guys are watching me because I have a camera on my computer. You can see exactly what I'm doing on my laptop right now. Well, this is the first time I've ever wanted that to be true. I was just at my brother's 49th birthday party. It was nice. There was about 35 people there, and he was outside manning the grill. And his wife pulled me aside. She was like, will you please tell your brother to go get a colonoscopy? So I was like, hey, Morgan, your wife wants you to get a colonoscopy. And he was like, yeah, well, I want to get in really good shape before I get one. And I was like, I don't think that's how it works. You don't get like a jacked colon. You know, no personal trainer has been like, today we're going to do biceps, triceps, and we got to get some colon work in. I was talking to this girl in a bar, and she was like, oh my God, you've got gray hair. Makes you look sophisticated, makes you look refined, makes you look mature. I was like, does it make me look like a guy you want to fuck? People say you should stop drinking when you get older. You really just need to stop drinking gin. You ever go out and have like 6 gin and tonics with a good friend and then suddenly not have a friend? Everything's going fine into like the 5th round, and then one of you is like, you think Boston has better pizza than New York? You're an idiot. You're like, yeah, well, I never liked you. He's like, yeah, well, you're a loser. And you're like, oh, yeah, well, I slept with your wife in college. Tangeray's marketing slogan is a little bit of intensity. I think it should be Tangeray. Maybe we should step outside. I don't know what I find more unsettling. The fact that it's got my first copy of AARP magazine in the mail, or the fact that I totally would have fucked the woman on the cover. I recently went to a life coach, and he was like, I'm going to say some words. You tell me which word is a problem for you. It's like alcohol, or tobacco, or drugs, or porn. And I was like, I got a problem with the word or. I tried doing yoga, but all the instructors are at peace with the world, and I am not. You know, I'm not a Om Namaste kind of guy. I've only had one instructor that was on my level. He was from South Boston. He was like, open up your fucking shoulders, kid. It's like, dude, your downward dog sucks. Your hips are wicked tight. I used to be a big runner, and there's a cool thing for guys when you're running. You can kind of check out girls with a little bit of eye contact, and then you're gone. But I hurt my knees, so now I'm out there walking, and that quick second of eye contact is now the longest minute of my life. Girls used to look at me as that cute, athletic running guy. Now they look at me like Freddy Krueger slowly approaching them. I got all these MMA guys, these mixed martial art guys blowing up my Instagram feed, always telling me I need to learn self-defense. They're like, well, what are you going to do when somebody tries to rob you? I'm going to whip out my wallet and hand it to them. You know what's easier than learning jiu-jitsu? Canceling your credit cards. And now the Navy SEALs are all over the internet and podcasts and YouTube telling everybody to get up at 4 a.m. But you got to get up at 4 a.m. You're a loser if you don't get up at 4 a.m. You got to get up at 4 a.m. and work out. It's like, you know, fellas, maybe if you had gotten a good night's sleep, it would have taken 10 years for you to catch bin Laden. I was talking to my friend Susan, and she had just broken up with a guy because he had too many red flags. I was like, oh, yeah, what were they? It's like, well, he drank a lot. He smoked. He was really insecure. I was like, so what were the red flags? Those aren't red flags. That's marriage material. It's like, ladies, if you're dating a guy and you can't clearly see the red flags, run. And if you're dating a guy that's got it all together all the time, likes to throw in a blue blazer and is like, yeah, sure, I'll go to Sunday brunch despite the fact that it's the opening week of the NFL, you're dating a man that is melting inside. So I'm single. My mother's like, why don't you join a church? I bet there's a lot of attractive women there. That'd be interesting. It's like, son, are you here to find God? It's like, no, I'm looking for a piece of ass. Father, I confess I'm here to get laid. He'd be like, so am I. All right, you guys have been a great audience. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right. Give it up for Brendan Fisher, single and ready to mingle. I unfortunately am married. It's been 13 years, and you got to have a strong relationship. So they got to know all your red flags. I mean, my wife and I, we work together, we live together, we used to sleep together, guys. It's a very, very strong relationship. This next guy is also a family man, killing it up in Canada in the Toronto comedy scene. He's been to New York, performed all over. You're going to love him. You're going to see why. Please help me give a warm welcome to Vinny Vinelli.
Hi, thanks, Jay. Can you hear me well? Just letting you know, yes, I am also married or asexual, whatever. Um, yes, I got to be honest with you. I never imagined I'd be doing virtual comedy again. See, the problem with virtual comedy is, there's no problem with the feed. Everything is good. That was just a joke. I'm sorry. That one was for me. Okay. So recently I discovered that I'm fat, uh, but I had an inkling. Yeah. Uh, I got stuck in the MRI machine. Now look, here's the here's the thing. All right. I thought it was one size fits all, but the technician kept saying, you just roll your shoulders in, just roll your shoulders in. I'm like, look, I don't fit, okay? But she kept pushing me to roll my shoulders in. It eventually, sure enough, I got stuck, and she kept pressing the button. You could hear the gears grinding. I'm like, look, I don't fit, you know. Then afterwards, you could smell the smoke. She had to grab her assistant to help get me out of there. Eventually, I popped out like a champagne cork, you know. I tell you. But here's another hint. I put on way too much weight, you know. Everything in my closet has changed to slim fit. I don't know what happened, but I get dressed in the morning now. It looks like I'm going scuba diving. And here's the worst part. I actually had to go shopping for bigger clothes. Yeah. And by the way, did you know that your feet can get fat? I had no idea. Yeah, but seriously, I put on a pair of sandals now. They look like two roasts tied with twine. I don't know what the hell's going on. So there I am shopping for new clothes, and the first place I go to, I'm looking at this shelving unit, this giant shelving unit of pants, okay? Eye level, you got size 30 skinny jeans. An inch off the ground, you got flex waist 50s. Which one of these two is going to be more agile? Really? I got to bend over and reveal a full moon and traumatize the staff? Like, I don't know. Is there some sort of anti-Illuminati, anti-fat Illuminati out there or something? Some fashion mafia? I'm not quite sure what's going on, but something's not right. You know what I mean? For example, every double XL shirt only available in bright colors and loud patterns. Yeah, my options are look like either a beach ball or a crossing guard. Like, apparently, the fashion industry believes fat men want to be visible from space. Yeah, I, I don't know what the hell's going on there. And let me ask you this, okay? Where are all the fat mannequins? Have you have you seen these mannequins? Okay, like honest, they look like Thor. Why do they all look like Thor? Yeah, the shirt's gonna look good on him. He's got 0% body fat. Okay, can can we get a mannequin that resembles me, please? You know, maybe some man boobs and a belly. I don't know. Made of something soft, by the way, not hard. You know, like maybe I don't know, some sandbags. I have no idea. Okay, and by the way, I would like these mannequins in realistic poses. Like who stands like this? Like look, here's a pose I would actually do as a bigger guy. Okay, like watch. I call this one "Fat Man at a Taco Truck." Or how about this one? Like, the McRib is back. uh, but look, I know I know it's not just about buying bigger clothes. I actually got to lose weight. I do. I got to lose weight. And my wife, God bless her, she spent the last 2 months trying to turn me into a vegan. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Things are a little bit bad right now. Yeah, I can't have dairy, I can't have meat, but I can't have any fat or any processed foods. So every time I go to the kitchen, she just redirects me to the backyard, and I graze. I graze. I don't know. Last week I pooped a cucumber. Things haven't been easy for Vinny recently. I got to be honest with you. She keeps saying that this will increase our life expectancy, which to me means I got to put up this shit even longer. You know, like. But hey, look, there's some benefits. I know it's good. Uh, like for example, the raccoons no longer go through our trash. In fact, they're leaving me stuff. I saw Big Mac combo on my doorstep. Yeah, there was a little note in it that said "Thinking of you in your time of need" with a paw print on there. Uh, buddy, listen, maybe it's working because a buddy of mine actually said, "Vinny, you look great. Have you lost weight?" And I was like, "Nah, I just hope." No, but I actually have lost weight. I've lost like 10 pounds and the will to live. Um, and here's something no one ever tells you about going vegan. I'll tell you right now. Um, there's a lot of roughage, a lot of whole grains, a lot of beans going into the system. There are going to be some repercussions. You know, for example, I can't even take baths anymore because that tub turns into a jacuzzi real fast. Oh yeah. There have been times where I've shot straight up like a dolphin at SeaWorld. I, I don't know what happens at night. It's even worse. Like I just seem to practice horizontal levitation. I float there like a hovercraft, like 2 inches off the mattress. One night I actually blew my wife out of bed. I would just like to say thanks for being such a great audience. You've been so generous. Thank you so much, everyone.
Give it up for Vinny Vanelli. That was amazing. And I can feel your pain. I realized that when I realized I got fat, it was just because I realized that turning sideways was no longer providing me a tactical advantage in tight spaces. My wife and I, we try to do the Peloton, because the technology is supposed to be the answer. But the technology was so crazy that, we got it in January, typical. But in February, it let us know it identifies as a clothing rack. And guys, it's 2023. We're going to honor its wishes. All right. That's what we're going to do. And the next wish we have is I want to tell you guys about some of the amazing workshops that we have coming up. We have in-person workshops in New York City, but even if you're out of town, they can be delivered in 5 days. So if you're looking for a trip to New York City, we have workshops coming up in October. In November, we have another all online workshop in December. This coming Sunday, we have a 1-day virtual character and act out workshop with ACI's award-winning Becky Viduccio. We have a lot of exciting things happening. No matter where you are in the world, you can be a part of the American Comedy Institute and part of the New York comedy scene. So please go to AmericanComedyInstitute.com. Share it with a friend. We're on all the platforms at ACI Comedy. We'd love for you to be a part of the ACI family. And without further ado, we're going to go all the way to the living room of Arlington Heights, Illinois, for the very funny Greg Stobbe.
Well, thank you so much for your warm welcome. I really need it. Next month, I'll be turning 69. It's not just going to be my age, it's also a goal. At my age, I'm seeing things differently. I believe that's technically referred to as cataracts. Well, I'm happy to share with you, I am now 5 years in remission from cancer. Yep, cancer runs in my family, and it usually gets elected. I feel like I'm more successful than Trump. I mean, I was able to overturn the results of my election, although one family member keeps demanding a recount. Yeah, we're divorced now. So my doctor told me I have to triple my fiber intake. I'm not sure where to find that much fiber. Although I was out on my deck yesterday, and the wicker patio set did catch my eye. Well, I've also hired a personal trainer. He asked me how I usually finish my workouts. I told him the parallel bars. He said, the parallel bars? You? I said, yeah. When the first bar throws me out, I just walk across the street to the other one. Well, I've also started taking up yoga now. So this woman in front of me was wearing super tight spandex pants. Well, she must have sensed something because she turned around and said, "What are you staring at?" I go, your chakra? Well, since my divorce, I'm having the worst luck dating. Now, don't get me wrong. I know I am not God's gift to women. Heck, I probably wouldn't even qualify as a charitable tax donation. I did actually get into kind of a serious relationship with a woman. So, I wanted her to meet my mom. Well, we decided to go on a Wednesday because that's the least crowded day at the cemetery. There are some current words and phrases that meant something totally different when I was younger. Mobile hotspot. In high school, it was the back seat of my 63 Buick Special. Uninterrupted streaming. What I hoped for every time my UTI cleared up. flashing cursor, a description of the guy who got arrested at my grade school playground, FaceTime, what my college girlfriend wanted every year for her birthday. You know, I also like to do some volunteering. So I'm working at the Gamblers Anonymous hotline. As well, I've had some issues with that. Well, after my first several phone calls, the manager comes up to me and says, listen, when they ask if this is Gamblers Anonymous, could you stop saying, you betcha? I read this article in the New York Times about how stand-up is being performed naked in some New York City clubs. They specifically mentioned a club in a neighborhood in Brooklyn called Bushwick. I shit you not. Talk about a treacherous work environment. I mean, for the club managers. I mean, they could get sued just for asking a comedian, do you have a full set? Thank you so much. You've been a great audience. I'm Greg Stobie.
Oh my goodness. Give it up for Greg Stobie and check him out on the dating app Unhinged. He is known as Draft King. So give it up for him. He's killing it out there. All right. We are going to keep our amazing show rolling. We are so excited that you're here joining us today. And this next guy is coming all the way from Cyprus. I am so excited for him. It's almost 3 a.m. So we're excited he's with us. Please welcome George Pelamos Fellas.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here, but we really don't have much time together. So my performance will be just like my sex life, short, disgusting, and lonely. I have been on stage since junior high school, where I had the great role of playing a tree. My family was, I played the role so good, a dog came on stage and pissed on me. My family were so excited to see me. They were like, oh my God, George, you're going to be a star. And I'm like, I don't know how many starring roles there are for oak trees. My brother was very judgmental, and he was like, you overplayed your role. How can you overplay a goddamn tree? My father was very upset after the show, and I asked him, is it because I play such a small role? And he was like, no, I missed the soccer finals to come see you play a fucking oak tree. I believe I got the tree role because of my height, which is 191 centimeters or 6.3 feet if you don't speak proper math. Who came up with feet as a way of measuring stuff? Whose feet are we even talking about? You can't compare my feet with an average person's. You know what people say about people, you know what they say about people with huge feet, right? Well, it's bullshit. My height is always the first thing people notice when they see me, even though I'm so goddamn beautiful. I met a girl at a club. She was very short, and I accidentally tripped on her, and she punched me right in my no-no area. And then I saw her. Oh. So I'm a nurse, and I actually started working as a nurse when the pandemic first hit, and it was like join the army. And having my sergeant telling me, congratulations, private, here's your parachute, you're being deployed. Don't I get a toothbrush first? So I believe medical professionals had it worse in the pandemic because we had more COVID tests done to us. We continue to go to work regularly. And oh yeah, we're dealing with a godforsaken pandemic. During the height of the pandemic, a guy came in, he was having a fever, he was sneezing, he was coughing all over me. And he goes like this, don't do a PCR test. I'm sure it's not COVID. And I stare at him like that. I think you're right. It's probably Ebola. This guy asked me with a straight face, what are the symptoms of COVID-19? 2 years into the fucking pandemic. Do you know how dumb you have to be in order for me to want to kill you? I would have put that PCR test in his brain if I thought he had one. So I'll put it in the other end instead. You know, I wonder, who came up with CPR? Who came across a dead guy and said to himself, I'm going to beat the shit out of this guy until he wakes up? And he did. Did the guy owe him money? What the hell? I read an article that said the French came out with the mouth-to-mouth for the drown victims. So, the first thought they had when they saw a drowned victim was, hey, this would be a good time to sexually assault him. What did the victim say when he woke up? Rape? One last fun fact about me, they call me the speed racer of the bedroom because I always give 110% and I finish first. I'm George Pelamos Ferlas, thank you.
Give it up for George Pelamos Fellas. I come a long way from that oak tree. I was actually sheep number 4 in my high school musical of The Wizard of Oz. You might remember that there are no sheep in that one. I was special, and I thanked our choir director for getting me a special part. Now we have 4 amazing comedians left for you. I'm excited. This next guy comes by way of Houston, Texas. So let's give a warm welcome for Ahmad Nahas.
Thanks, Jay. My name is Ahmed, and that is the scariest thing about me. I have a PhD, a doctorate in mathematics. That's my day job. But at night, I do stand-up comedy, which means my mom is really proud of me until around 5 p.m. But most people look at me and they already assume I'm a doctor, either that or their Uber driver. However, being a doctor of mathematics is different than being a doctor of medicine. I can't treat you if you have a headache. But if we talk for 5 minutes, I can give you one. But I can be useful. If you have a heart attack, I can't save your life. I'm sorry. But with this hand position, you have 1 out of 46 chances of surviving. My PhD was in game theory. Now, game theory is a very specific area of study. What we do is we take all of the fun out of games and replace it with algebra, statistics, and calculus. The reason we do that? I would have to get back to you from that. But I really have absolute love for mathematics. I love the certainty. Math makes sense. 2 plus 2 equals 4. Okay? But in comedy, a joke plus my accent is usually, what did he say? I'm 5'5". And I'm trying to be positive about it. They have fantastic range of clothing where I shop at Baby Gap. And when I do laundry, I wash 6 inches less clothing than the average American. That adds up. So, no, I just wish I'm tall. I read a positive thinking book. And the last one I read, I left a negative review. I really think my head is a socialist head. My top 1% gets nothing. I struggle with procrastination, and I know a lot of people do, but I finally discovered a really effective solution. If you are procrastinating on something important to do, just quit. Oh, I thought of another positive thing for being short. I can eat my favorite food, Kit Kat candy bars, without gaining weight. See, the trick is to only buy them if they are on the top shelf in the grocery store. So by the time I get to them, I usually burn enough calories to eat a whole bag. No, I just wish I'm tall. I'll leave you in this one. I think us immigrants contribute to comedy a lot. We usually have kids, force them to study math, ruin them for life, and the kids become comedians. You've been a great audience. Thank you.
Hey, give it up for Ahmed Nahas. Math. I'm a teacher, but I'm not a math teacher. I will say the only math that kind of, I guess, resonated with me, if I'm being honest, was geometry. And that's because I was very invested in looking for pi. I just kept going to the bakery. I got cut for cutting class all the time, man. I'll tell you what, though. Give it up one more time for Ahmed. I mean, amazing job all the way from Houston, Texas. 3 amazing comedians left for you guys. I know you're ready for it. This next guy comes from Louisville, Colorado. Let's give a very warm welcome for Tucker Collins.
Thank you, Jay. Thanks so much. Thanks, everybody, for being here tonight. Since way back in ancient Greek times, people have used their astrological signs to figure out who they should date. But how did all that get started? Did some ancient Greek guy go into a taverna one night, and pick out a girl and say, "Hey, I'm a goat, you're a bull, we should bang"? And it worked? I think there's something really icky about using astrology for that reason. Because astrology is the only point of view where it's okay to be a fish that wants to have sex with a lion. Or for some twins to double team a crab. Crab is the Cancer sign, and Cancer signs make me uncomfortable, okay? Thank God they didn't run too deep with that idea, like, hey, what's your sign? Tumors, visible tumors. And my chlamydia is in retrograde, so we should hook up. Well, these days I'm really getting to know my CEO at work. Turns out we have some important things in common. Specifically, we're on the same pee schedule. Now, it's strange, but it's nowhere near the strangest thing going on in my office, okay? There's a guy there, he's huge. This Scandinavian giant looks like at any given moment, walking around the office, he is ready and waiting to punish a toilet. Well, he and I, we have the same shit schedule. Every time I go into the men's room, that guy is in there, making a deposit, dropping Thor's hammer, creating his own Mount Doom. How am I supposed to use the bathroom after this guy? He's a bathroom alpha. Maybe we've got the same astrological bowel sign or something. We're the Gemini toilet twins. The next time I'm peeing with the CEO, I'm going to suggest something like, hey, Odin back there deserves his own Game of Thrones. That guy needs his own toilet. Downstairs. Seriously. So, everybody likes impressions, right? Everyone loves impressions. Well, I got a few for you. Okay, so this first one is Hank Hill from the animated TV series King of the Hill. He's getting mildly frustrated with his son. This is Hank Hill getting mildly frustrated with his son. Damn it, Bobby. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. This next one is Hank Hill out to dinner with Robert De Niro, and De Niro reaches for the dinner check before Hank can get to it. Okay. Again, Hank Hill out to dinner with Robert De Niro, who reaches for the check before Hank can get to it. Damn it, Bobby. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, one last one. This is Hank Hill as President John F. Kennedy talking to his brother Robert Kennedy, his chief advisor during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Again, Hank Hill as JFK talking to his chief advisor Robert Kennedy during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Damn it, Bobby. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hey, my thanks to ACI and Steve for putting all this together. Thanks to Jay for hosting. Giving it back to you, Jay.
Thank you, Tucker. Amazing job. Thank you for Tucker Collins. I kept seeing that astrological symbols in the back, and you made me think of, I don't know if you guys know, there's this trend going on social media where like girlfriends and wives are filming their boyfriends and husbands and asking them how much they think about the Roman Empire. And I'm a Latin teacher, so I think about it every day as part of my job. I actually teach Spanish and Latin, which is crazy because I come from the coal mine regions of Scranton, Pennsylvania. Like, we're barely lingual there. And my hillbilly uncle, when he found out what I did, so supportive. Oh my God, he was like, Jay, that's so good. Spanish and Latin? That means you can talk to the Spaniards and the Latinos. And if you're not laughing, you would love my uncle. Can I tell you that much? Let me tell you, this next comedian, she is from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, very close to where I am. I'm very excited to have someone from Southeast Pennsylvania in the house with us as part of the ACI family. Let's give a very warm welcome to Colleen Ruan.
Thanks, Jay. Hello, everybody. So I just want to tell you, I am tired of living with men that think that household chores are a woman's job. If I ever live with anybody ever again, I know exactly who I want to live with. A gay man with OCD. I want a man that compulsively cleans. I want a man that thinks that I'm the messy one. I want a guy that at dinner time, he's in the kitchen cooking and not on the couch with a fork in his hand watching a football game. I want a guy that will check out my outfit before I leave the house. And I want him to say, you're not leaving dressed like that, girlfriend. So I did some online dating, and I found out that it's really, really important that if you're going to meet somebody, you have to have a meal in public and a conversation, right? So I agreed to meet this guy for drinks, and we hit it off right away. And then later back at my place, we hit it off right away. We didn't have a real like meal date for about 2 months. So we were watching the Super Bowl and we ordered food. He gets his burger out and he starts eating his food. I got $50 on this game. Oh my goodness, I cannot have a relationship with this guy. I can't take him anywhere. I don't need a guy that needs a lot of stuff, but I need a guy that knows how to chew. So I'm a bus driver now. And on my first day, I was so nervous. I really didn't think that I should be a bus driver. I got so lost. I was circling around the parents with their kids. They're waving 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Then they started to yell at me, pick them up. They're going to be late. Then in the back, I hear this guy, somebody is honking their horn. And so I think he wants to pass by me. So I pull over to let him pass. He pulls up on the side and he gets out with his 2 kids. So I ask, do you want them to get on the bus? And he says, remember these 2 kids, never. So my mother gave me the sex talk. And I guess she felt obligated because she was kind of brief with what she said. So the first thing that she said was, a man puts his penis in a woman's vagina, right? And then her final words of wisdom were, I would never put a man's penis in my mouth, and neither should you. Well, I didn't understand what she was talking about. I was 12. But later on, when I realized what she was talking about, my first thought, my poor father. Thank you very much.
Oh my goodness. Give it up for Colleen Ruhan. Heck yes. I didn't know either. I'll be honest. I will say though, gay guys, my dad is actually a gay man, and he didn't pass any of those traits on to me. I'm sort of like culturally gay. If you're like culturally religious, if you're culturally Catholic, you go to like mass at Christmas, but if you're like culturally gay, you listen to Mariah at Christmas. It's a different beast. I'll explain it another time, because we have the guy closing out the show tonight. Very, very excited for this guy. He's also from Pennsylvania, from Millersville, Pennsylvania. So let's give a warm welcome to Abner Cologne.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right. So my name is Abner Colin. I've been doing magic for about 11 years and started comedy for about 5 to 6 just now. So I moved to Florida from Pennsylvania, and when I got there, I didn't feel well. I went to a doctor, and it turns out my colon was precancerous, and it had to be removed. I mean, what about experience moving to Florida? So my name is Abner Colin, like I said, and when I found out I had to have my colon removed, I thought the good news is maybe instead of Abner Colin, I can just go by Abner now. So it'll be a lot easier to write my autograph. Bad news is no one asked for my autographs. At one point, the doctor said, with this surgery, you may not be able to have children. But after the surgery, he said, it went great. And you will be able to have children. And I said, great. The only thing I need is someone to date me. I'm 50% Puerto Rican. My mom is Puerto Rican and my dad is weird. My dad calls himself a minimalist. I think because he lives in a van. I don't know if he gave up his house because he couldn't afford it, or it was his way of guaranteeing that I would move out. It's because he watched a documentary about minimalism that said if something doesn't spark joy, you should get rid of it. So he bought me a one-way ticket to Florida. So as you guys can hear, English is not my first language. So sometimes people think they have to explain certain phrases to me. Like I was at this party and someone told me, hey, Abner, do not talk to that person over there. They're a bad egg. You know what that means? And I was like, sure. It means that they're going to be a bad chicken. So my accent is so heavy sometimes. Puerto Rican don't understand what I'm saying. I was talking with the Hispanic guy recently, and he said, I don't understand what you're saying. I don't think you're really Puerto Rican. I said, I'm your cousin. I don't like it when people tell me what to do with my life, like they know better than I do how I should live my life. The last person who did that, I said, no, I will not have a nice day. Thank you.
Give it up for Abner Colin. Excellent. Oh my goodness, a magician too. I can't wait to see that the next time. That was amazing. So guys, we have made it to the end of our show. I can't thank you guys enough for being here. We had 6 states, 2 different countries represented. It's been just a phenomenal show. And like I said, we have workshops. We'd love for you to visit us at AmericanComedyInstitute.com. We have some amazing opportunities coming up. You don't want to miss them. We want you to be a part of it. Our next virtual show will be in December, but we have 2 amazing in-person workshops that can be completed for out-of-towners in 5 days. So again, hit us up at AmericanComedyInstitute.com. We'd love to talk to you through it. We have so many great opportunities. Give it up one more time for everybody you've seen here tonight. I've been Jay Yoder. You all have been amazing.